Good morning, YouTube. Today we're going to remove the broken factory headers on this Ferrari F430.
So are you recording all of the nefarious activities?
If you're new to the channel, my name is Dan, this is my garage, and this channel is all about the supercar ownership experience, buying them, selling them, maintaining them, DIY working them, and today we are working on the Project F430, which is available to be bought by one of you. So yes, this car is up for auction right now. If you're interested in buying it, go to my website, normalguysupercar.com. From there you can register to bid and bid on this car, which is awesome. This is actually in beautiful condition, and we're going to have it all set, ready to go. Everything's going to be taken care of and well sorted for one of you. So today we're taking out the busted factory headers. Yes, these F430s, the factory headers are absolutely crap and they all break. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. They literally all break. So you pretty much have two options when it comes to these cars. You can either keep replacing them with OEM headers over and over and over, and let's be real, that's very expensive. They are not cheap. Or you can replace them with some aftermarket headers, which is probably a little bit better of an option. Now, obviously, that comes with a concern because if you live in a state that has emissions testing, the factory headers have precats in them, so once you remove those precats, you're not going to pass emissions unless you do certain things. We've got some FabSpeed headers. FabSpeed hooked us up, and we're going to install those today. They're actually out getting ceramic coated right now, but let me show you what the rest of the kit comes with, and then we're going to start this car up, get the sound so that we can have a before and after comparison, because the sound will change a little bit. Once you pull out those OEM headers, it's going to get a little bit louder because we're not going to have the cats, and it's going to sound a little bit different because we're going to actual true headers as opposed to manifolds. So we're going to get more performance, more sound, and more reliability. So there's really no reason not to do this. This is something you have to do if you own one of these cars. So besides coming with the actual headers themselves, the FabSpeed kit comes with the little donuts and new bolts. So we have all, or I should say new nuts. We have all the nuts we're gonna need because you do wanna replace those. They do get kind of wonked out after they've been in the car this long. And we have two gaskets, one for each side. And this is the big trick, is we have these little O2 catalytic extenders. So these actually go on the rear O2 sensors, which are way back here. And what they do is they basically simulate as if though your car had the full cats. Theoretically, you could go catless on this car and it would still be okay to pass an OBD2 emissions check. Obviously, if they do a sniffer test, this isn't going to cut it, but this will get us by for most cases. And frankly, when we're only removing the headers, which only removes the pre-cats, we're still keeping the actual cats. We should still be able to pass most emissions control checks. So the big concern would be if you live in California. That's obviously the strictest state in the United States about emissions control stuff. And according to FabSpeed, they said we've had plenty of people install these headers with this kit and had no problems passing emissions. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to make sure this car can still pass emissions in California because, I don't know, maybe it's going to get bought by one of you in California. So before we start taking out these OEM headers, let's start the car up. We're going to get how many decibels it has. This way you can also hear what it sounds like, and pay close attention to the left side of the engine. You're going to hear a ticking sound. So especially when it first starts up, you're going to hear it ticking pretty loudly, and then it's going to go away as the car warms up a little bit. That is the broken headers. Basically, you can hear them reverberating the sound from the cracks that are within the headers, making a tick 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 sounds. That's generally considered one of the easiest signs to tell whether the headers are cracked or not, is when they tick when it's first on a cold start. All right, we've got the decibel meter set up directly behind the Cavallino, so it's in the center point of the car. So we'll do the exact same thing once we got the new headers in there, so we get the exact same reading. So hear that very distinct ticking? No ticking on this side. So you can really hear it ticking on that side, but not this side right now. How many decibels? 112.2 decibels. So it's not that loud. But here the ticking gets softer, and now it's gone. Just like that, the ticking goes away. So you'll gotta check it while it's really cold, so it's already sealed up. So you really gotta listen for it very quickly, because it only lasts about 10-20 seconds, because then as the car warms up and it kind of starts to come off the cold idle, it shifts the ignition timing, so it's not as aggressive, and as it warms up, it might expand and actually seal the cracks. Because now the engine's totally quiet, you can't hear the ticking anymore. It only lasts about 20 seconds. So you can see at idle, it's only, whoa, look at that. My voice is way louder than the car. So we're only at 82. Look at, I start talking, it goes up. I am apparently much louder than this car. So we're gonna let it warm up so I can rev it, and also that way I can actually check the oils. So if you remember, we changed the oil, but we didn't actually check it yet. So this is the first time I started since changing the oil. So We're gonna let it warm up, then we're gonna check the oil. We'll blip the gas a little bit so you can hear it. Okay, so the car is basically warmed up. I pulled the dipstick and there is nothing on the dipstick, so clearly we need to add some oil, so let's do that. All right, so we added a quart, and you can see it's right there in the middle between the two dots. So I'm gonna add maybe a little bit less than a half a quart. All right, we've got it topped off on oil, so let's blip the gas a few times. We'll see how many decibels we get. I mean, it's not terribly quiet, but it's not loud. It's 115 decibels. Certainly not anywhere near as loud as my 458. We're gonna make it sound a little better by pulling these headers. So it just occurred to me, I am kind of an idiot because I just heated the crap out of the entire exhaust system, and now I'm gonna be crawling under the car working on the exhaust system. Yeah, that wasn't too smart. Shoot. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do before we start working on actually removing the nuts and stuff on the headers is we're actually gonna pull off the wheels and wheel houses on the sides, because believe it or not, getting to the headers from the sides is actually a lot easier in many cases than getting to it from below. You can get some better leverage. So we're gonna get those out of the way. That's gonna give us better access. It should help us be able to do the job faster. Okay, so we'll break all these lugs loose first. Because we have carbon ceramic rotors, we want to be really careful not to hit the rotors with the wheel. So it's a really good idea to use like a wheel alignment tool. So in keeping with the spirit of full disclosure on anything I find wrong with this car, there is a scratch or a chip of paint missing right there on this wheel. So none of the wheels have any curb rash, but that's the first damage I've noticed on any of the wheels. That's a bummer, but it's not too bad, and I bet it could be touched up pretty easily since they're black gloss. There's the rear piece. There. Jeez, oh Pete's. These are 4mm Allens. So you can see now that we have the wheelhouse off, there's the headers right there. It gives us access to some of these rear bolts that makes it a little bit easier to wrench on those. Also, while we have these off, I'm gonna be able to kind of clean them up. So we'll clean them up and ceramic coat them. That way they're gonna stay a little bit cleaner, because these are just absolutely filthy. And you can see how nasty all that crap just from sitting it on my leg briefly, how dirty I am. So before we get started, the first thing we're gonna do is spray all the nuts with some penetrating oil. Hopefully that's gonna help loosen up some of these, because some of them are gonna stick like hell. While waiting for the penetrating oil to do its magic and voodoo and whatever the hell it does that makes things loose.
You remind me of the babe. Babe with the power. Power of voodoo. You do. Remind me of the babe.
Gather up every single 12mm wrench or socket or whatever that you can find. These ones are really key, getting some sort of like angled ones. These ones really do a good job. You need some shorties, so we got like tiny little 12mm. We've got regular 12mm wrenches. We've got everything you can possibly think of. Basically, you just keep trying whatever you can until you find something that fits. Here we go. Oh wow, that one was really kind of loose. Maybe I should try and get a couple of these while they're hot. Yeah, there we go. Now the studs come with it. It happens a lot. The stud will come out instead of just the nut. Well, that's the first one. Woohoo! It sucks when the stud comes instead of the nut because it's a lot more thread. Wish I had had the camera rolling. I just dropped the wrench right on my face. Oh, man, that one hurt. Hopefully I'm not bleeding. Like right on my tooth. Yeah, that sucked. Oh, you bastard. 3. Well, it is bleeding a little. So I was like sitting there and I licked my lip and I could taste blood. I'm like, oh shit, I am bleeding. Right there. It got me pretty good. Gonna be swollen for a few days. Yep. while we're waiting for the engine to cool down, because I can't get to some of those bolts because it's just way too hot and I'm going to burn the crap out of myself, is we're going to pull off the AC compressor. So to do that, we're going to loosen up the serpentine belt, get the belt out of the way. There's 3 Allen screws. I think they're 5 or 6 millimeter. I got to check. And then once we unscrew those, we're going to kind of just pull it off and then push it out of the way and then put something under it to make sure we're not letting it just kind of dangle under its own weight. Some sort of box or something, like a bucket. So it's a little hard to see, but right here is the serpentine belt tensioner. It is a 15 millimeter. It's a pretty tight thing to get off. So you put a wrench on it and you probably need to double wrench it just to get a little leverage. And then you push on it, and see, by doing that, it loosens the belt there, and that's it. So we're gonna leave the belt tensioned on the other stuff. That way it's easy to get back on. Now we gotta undo all of these 6 millimeter Allens for the air conditioning compressor. Yeah, good, they're not too tight. That one's kind of like gummed up. So is this one. Man, someone's beat on this air compressor before. Really glad that didn't hit me in the face. That would have sucked. Alright, we're gonna try a regular Allen and see if maybe it gets in there a little better. Oh, thank God. Really didn't want that to strip. Whew, that's a tight son of a bitch. Cool. That's out of the way. We can undo this little clip. So that way we don't stretch this wire. There. Alright, we got a bucket ready to set it on. And remember, this thing's heavy as heck, so once we get it loose, it's going to be really heavy. And of course, now it's all hot because I ran the car. There we go. Whoop, whoop, whoop. There. That is out of the way. So now that the air conditioning compressor is out of the way, you can see we have much better access to these front bolts. So do yourself a favor, get that out of the way. If you do not, you're going to be suffering really hard.
Hey guys, please. Yeah. Let's work on a Ferrari.
That's one of the reasons why it took me so long the first time I ever did this, is I didn't want to pull the air conditioning compressor, and that was dumb. That just took 3 minutes to remove the compressor, and it'd probably save you 3 hours of time. So now we got access to these. We can actually get a ratchet on some of them to really make my life easier. Look at that. Oh yeah, that was much better. Oh yeah, these two are gonna come real easy. Keep my face out of the way since I'm having bad luck with that today. 4th one. 5th one. So far, all of them have had the studs come out. Yeah, regular 12 mil will fit. Oh yeah, there we go. Ah, come on. Don't want to smash my finger. Let's double wrench it. There we go. So you can only get like a 1/16 of a turn each time, so it just takes forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Oh yeah, number 6. Oh yeah, number 7. First one to actually come with just the nut. Number 8. Okay, now we gotta disconnect the manifold from the catalytic converter. These are 13 millimeter, and it's got a spring, so unfortunately they don't come real easy. Mo is here. Hi, Mo. Oh, there we go. Hey, 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 hey. There we go. What's up, Mo? Hi, Mo. What you doing, buddy? Hi. What are you doing, Mo? Alright, so you can see it's going to be easier to get to it from the top than from the bottom, so I'm going to have to get the ladder out. There. Alright. With Mo's assistance, I will now remove the factory headers if they don't burn the bejesus out of me. Yeah, they're cooled down pretty good. So, alright. Got loosened up from the donut. There we go. Yeah. Oh, son of a... I forgot to disconnect the O2 sensor. Yeah, that's a problem. Yeah, right there's the O2 sensor, so it's a bit of a tight squeeze, and this is why, one of the reasons why you want to get the fender wells out, because now we got really easy access to it. Mo, you gonna turn a wrench? You gonna turn a wrench? Ah! Yes, no, you're gonna lick me. Thank God this was not that tight. There. Nope, you're in my way. Move. All right. One is done. Oh, yeah, let's get the old gasket out of there. There. So this one's going pretty smooth. I don't want to jinx myself, but I think it's maybe because this car is really clean and it's not all rusted up yet. I think the key is getting that air compressor or the AC compressor out of the way, pulling these fender wells, all those things just to give you more space and make it easier on yourself. Don't drop wrenches on your face. That's my tip for the day. So I'm gonna do the other side, and then yeah, we're making progress. I'm only about 2.5 hours in. Not bad, actually. With all the filming, that's really good. What do you think of that giant turd, Mo? Huh? What do you think? What do you think? Oh, you're gonna come say hi? Of course you are. Yes, I know. Yeah. You kiss it. Okay, there you go. Good boy, Mo. Good boy. Good boy, Mo. Yeah, you're loved. Okay, so I've got all the right tools and I've done this enough times. I think I might be able to pull out the other side in under an hour. So that's my goal. I'm gonna try and do that. It's 11:10. Hopefully we can do this by 12:10. So let's give it a shot and see if I can do it all in 1 hour, especially if I'm not having to reposition the camera every 2 seconds. So here we go. There it is. Yes. Whew, got it out, and holy crap, you won't believe this, 11:29. It took me 20 minutes to do that. That is impressive. So to be fair, that's what happens when it goes perfectly. So every single one of those nuts came off without a problem. None of them stuck, none of them stripped. I didn't have to do any cutting or blowtorching or anything like that, so they all came out nicely. My assumption is because this car is like really, really clean and it's pretty low miles and it's a little bit newer than the 2005 when I worked on mine. My suggestion is if you have 430, do the headers sooner than later because the newer the car, the less likely they are to be rusted up or stuck. Spray the penetrating oil, let those sit for a while. It may have even helped that the engine was warmed up, so maybe everything expanded a little bit and was a little bit looser. I don't know. That's an interesting thought, but that was by far the easiest I've done on one of these cars. It just came out super, super easy. Yes, no more pieces of shit causing problems. So we've got one last thing we got to do today, which is we're going to get these nuts that are stuck on the studs off. So the way you do that is you double nut the other end, put it in the vise, and then we can hopefully crank off this top nut because we need these studs, we need to keep them, so we need to reuse them. So I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so we're gonna open up our vise, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the end of the stud that goes into the engine block, we're gonna screw on 2 nuts. You have to use the vise a lot. Okay. Oop. This one broke loose. Might be able to get it now. Oh, good. We don't even have to double nut that one. You can take and grab the stud right on the center. We should be able to loosen that up just a little bit. There. So we got all the nuts off the studs, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to screw these into the engine block, or I guess into the heads. Basically, you can just screw them in as far as you can, hand tight, and then once we actually screw them on with the new nuts will grab and then throw the rest of the stud in, so you don't have to worry about getting it super tight at this point. I just want to get them started. Just so you know, the longer side of the stud is the side that sticks out. So the short side goes into the head, the longer side is what's going to stick out and actually have the nut for the header. Get in there as far as we can get it for today. Yeah, you're not going to be able to get them in real far hand tight. So don't worry, we're just trying to get it started. So I'm waiting for the headers to come back from All American Wheel Pros where they're getting ceramic coated. In the meantime, if you guys have one of these F430s and you need to replace the headers, go check out fabspeed.com and use the code NGS15. They're going to hook you guys up with 15% off, which is pretty awesome. That's actually going to save you a lot of money on these headers. Again, like I said, you have to replace these headers at some point if you own a 430. No matter what, they're all going to break. It just happens. Unfortunately, it's 100% failure rate, so just accept that and do it sooner rather than later, because if you let them go, you can get bad problems. So once they crack really badly, keep in mind the headers go up. So if they flake out some metal and stuff, the metal can actually fall back down into the cylinder and get ingested into the engine. Then you're talking about having to rebuild the whole engine or replace the block because it's going to score the cylinder walls with metal shavings. Not a good thing. Take care of that before it becomes a big problem. And also that way you're going to gain a little horsepower, you're going to gain a little bit of performance, and you're going to gain a little bit of sound. So all these things are positive. These are things that you want anyway, most likely, right? I mean, you do, right? So again, go to fabspeed.com, use the code NGS15, get yourself hooked up with 15% off. They make some pretty good stuff. And also they have other stuff besides just Ferrari parts. A lot of you guys that might not have a Ferrari, you might have a Porsche, might have BMW, go check out their site. They have stuff for that. And the code will work on any of their stuff. So it's not just for Ferrari parts, it's for any of their stuff. We're hooking you guys up, all right? Hopefully you guys take advantage of this. This is a good offer. So we still have to get the headers back in. We still have the window switch. We have the engine mounts. And then I'm going to ceramic coat a lot of stuff on this car. So we're going to ceramic coat the wheels, the fender liners, and of course the paint. Get it all done with the Avalon King Armor Shield 9 ceramic coating. If you want to get some of the Avalon King Armor Shield 9 ceramic coating, go to bit.ly/NGSAvalon and use the code NGS25. They're going to hook you up with $25 off your order. So usually one kit should be enough for a smaller car. If you got a big truck or something, you might need two. Or if you're going to do like the wheels, brakes, and the paint, and a bunch of other stuff, then you're probably going to need at least 2 kits. And certainly if you're going to do multiple coats, you're going to need 2 kits. Get yourself some of that stuff. It works really good. One of my viewers was just sending me pictures of their beautiful blue Mustang last night, showing me how they just ceramic coated with Avalon King and they poured some water in it and the water just came right off and they're like, dude, this is awesome. I don't endorse any of these products unless I use them myself. So again, if I'm recommending it, you guys can trust that. It's good stuff. All right, we have tons of car stuff coming your way. We're gonna keep on working this F430, have it done. Again, if you're interested in buying it, go to normalguysupercar.com, register to bid. The auction ends on Thursday, April 23rd at 8:30 p.m. We'll be having a live broadcast at 8 p.m. So come join us for that. Watch the end of the auction, but it should be pretty cool. So once this car is sold, we're gonna figure out how much money it actually cost us, and then we're gonna split the net profits 1/3 with Justin. So yes, we are splitting the net profits of these project cars with you guys 1/3. So if you want to get 1/3 of the net profit of our next project car, go to normalguysupercar.com, find a cool supercar that's clearly undervalued, submit it on my website using the Submit a Project Car page, and if we choose that car, we're going to split the net profits with you 1/3 once we sell that car. So that's pretty awesome. This could end up being a couple $1,000s. We'll see what it sells for. Hopefully it does pretty well, and hopefully someone ends up with a really, really good car that they're very happy with. This is a beautiful car. Let me tell you, it is in excellent shape. All right, we have tons of car stuff coming your way, so you're going to want to stay tuned. It's going to be sweet.